If you're thinking about xTool Air Assist, look at this. This is all we need to say right here. Look at the difference. Before Air Assist, after Air Assist. Which one do you think is cleaner? So what it is, it's a unit that blows air right next to the laser head. Literally, it's attached to the laser head. It's really weird. I'll show you how to install this. So we were getting burn marks on some of our cuts, and a lot of people recommended pick up this Air Assist. We bought one, and we wanted to see if this made a difference. Now, the instructions, I'm not going to lie, they leave a little bit to be desired. They could have been better written, but you can kind of fuddle your way through it. And if you watch this video, we'll tell you what we ran into. There's some pieces and parts that we didn't use and a couple of things that didn't make sense, but let's run through this thing. We'll go step by step, and hopefully this will help you install your Air Assist and get cleaner cuts with your xTool M1. All right, I think these are air filters. I couldn't find those mentioned in the manual, or I didn't read far enough in. But there is one already installed in the pump that you'll see here, and they give you 2 extras. So it's nice. They do give you some nice spare parts in here, including a couple laser lenses, which I was surprised to see. And they give you 2 of these little magnetic things which screw in. I'll show you that in a moment. Now the tubing is kind of, a lot of people say it's too hard and they replace it with aquarium tubing. I thought it was fine. I didn't see a problem with that whatsoever, and you'll see when it's installed, it's moving around just fine. And this has little shock absorbers, just like it's like a fish tank pump. I think that's really what it is, but it works. So here's the air filter. It looks like it's in the bottom, and you just screw the bottom off, put that in there. We'll do a maintenance update in a little while to show how that's done. So you've got extra lenses in here, extra seals. So what you want to do is make sure this guy's turned off, probably unplug it, and you probably want to detach your air exhaust hose too, which I didn't do. So I flipped it upside down, and I didn't know you could do this. Actually, it's not going to hurt it flipping it upside down. It is recommended in the manual to install it this way. And this is a great way to get to your lens and actually clean it when it's upside down, because you access things. So the first step here is you have to take this little cover off the back, and they give you this paltry little screwdriver, which it can be hard to break that screw seal with that. You can use any screwdriver, but it's a very, very fine tip Phillips head screwdriver, so make sure you don't strip it. You don't want to use a screwdriver that's too big. So take this off, and then you're going to take both of these screws out, and this little panel comes off. And I understand you don't have to replace that. So we didn't put it back on. There's actually no room for it after you put this thing in. And they do recommend in the instructions, and they warn you to take the cutting blade out so you don't cut yourself while you're putting this thing in. I guess you can put it back in afterwards, although the instructions never said that. We rarely use it. We have Crickets and Silhouette machines. So, and this is weird. You have to put the tweezers, they're very sharp pointed tweezers. You have to put those in those 2 holes and then unscrew this little, I guess it's a washer that holds the laser lens in. So you're gonna take that, just put it away somewhere. You don't need to put it back in because they give you a couple pieces that replace this. It's actually a magnetic setting, and there's 2 of these things. They're exactly the same thing, and they screw in to replace that unit that holds the lens in. Now you need to be really careful here, because you have to screw this in really, really well. Actually, I was afraid to do it, and it fell out the first time, and the lens fell out, and I had to go back and put that back in. So the second time I did this, I really had to screw it in, and it tells you how it wants it to be lined up. So you gotta, just don't be afraid to turn that around a couple of times until it stops. And then this guy attaches magnetically. This is where the hose is going to attach. So the laser is gonna shoot through this unit, and air will be blowing down simultaneously. It's kind of neat. So you just pop the hose in here, and push it in real good to make sure it doesn't fall out. You're not gonna break it, just push it in there real good. And this is where it gets a little squirrely. What do I do with the hose now? I'm not really sure until I turn it back upside down. Again, I'm going to admit, when I did turn this upside down, I didn't have that thing screwed in properly, and it fell out, and the laser lens fell out, and I had to put that back in. It wasn't difficult, but just be aware of that. You wanna screw that cover in really well. All right, so this is kind of weird, because you have a couple of these, they're like tubes or tunnels, or like a bracket where you're going to hold those hoses, or that hose, so it doesn't interfere with the laser cutting or engraving or whatever you're doing. And there's a couple of them here, frankly, you didn't need. So I'm not sure why we put them in there, but hey, they're in the instructions. We follow it to a T, and we wanted to show you exactly how we do it. And this is what the instructions are like. Put them all in there. Although you only really need 2 of these if you install it with the riser. Maybe if you don't install it with the riser, I don't know how you could do that. I guess you have to run it underneath. But if you have the riser, you really only need 2 of these. So So you put this in here. Leave yourself a little room because you don't want to cut that corner. It's really not descriptive on how far you put these. It says 4 millimeters on the left side, or 4 centimeters, I'm sorry. But it doesn't really say for the rest of them. But leave yourself a little space so that tube can turn the corner without crimping it. Crimping means you pinch it and you restrict the airflow, so you don't want to do that. So these two are really the only channels that you need to hold that hose. Make sure you don't put them up too high because your laser will not operate if that lid is not fully down. So I didn't really need this. And again, I guess this is for if you don't have the riser unit. I don't really know. It's not really explaining it in there. Maybe you could let us know in the comments if you have one installed without the riser. We do have the riser on this thing. All right, so we've put all those in here. And now we have to attach this thing. You see, there's 2 little nubs on the bottom. I was like, where do I put this? I don't want to mess it up. I don't want to put it too low. But there are 2 little holes. It's like a little Lego, 2 little Lego pegs where you put that in there, and then it uses its own adhesive, which is on the side of the thing. You peel it off, and it attaches to that laser head automatically. And then you take this and you feed this. Again, with the riser, you're going to feed it through 1, 2. You don't want to make it too tight because it has to be able to move enough to hit all 4 corners, depending on the size of the object that you're cutting or engraving. So you want to make sure you have enough slack there, and you can adjust it. We adjusted it a couple of times. You can move this head manually, just push it around. Try not to do that too much. It can't be good for the drive if you do it a lot. And then I put it back on top, and it says this little thing needs to hang out, but I'm actually going to feed the tube through the hole here in the riser base, which is meant for air assist. I was wondering where that's going to go. And again, I'm assuming if you don't have air assist, it just pulls out the bottom. So you just pop this back on top. And this is a little tricky because there's no brackets or anything holding that base together. So it does fall. It's funny. But once you have it on there securely, she's pretty stable. Because the machine, the M1 itself, actually holds the base together. That took me a while to figure that out. And you got to finagle it in there. And once she pops down, she's going to be really secure. You see you have your hose there. Now don't tie it down or tighten it up yet. You need to make sure that you have enough slack. So this little rubber bushing goes on the pump, and then this little attachment goes on the other side, and then your hose will fit securely into this. I don't know what the thing's called. It's not in the book either. There's like no words in here. It's really weird. So I guess they do that because there's so many languages around the world, and it would be crazy to try to do them all. So make sure that you can hit all 4 corners and pull this guy out. You have enough slack. You don't want it to be too tight, but you don't want it to be too loose either, because if it's too loose, your laser head will trip on it. And it's okay if it's sticking up top like that. Don't tuck it in there, because if you tuck it in this last channel, it's going to restrict the movement of the laser head. And this does have a speed on it too. I just run it full blast. I'm not sure what's appropriate. But if you use the magnets and you have the riser, your wood won't move anywhere. We did a sample cut here just to make sure. We have all 4 of the magnets that came with the riser installed here, and it held it down very tautly, very nicely. And we did a pretty complicated cut here just to test it. You can see the smoke's going out all over the place. We're upgrading our fans, our exhaust as well. But you can see that airflow, that air assist is blowing that smoke away from the wood. And there is a noticeable difference when you have the final cut. You can see you don't have as many burn marks. Actually, I couldn't really see any burn marks on here as compared to the laser cut without the air assist. And I mean, look for yourself. There is a marked difference here. So was it worth it? Yeah, I think it's totally worth it if you want a nice clean cut. Of course, if you're painting or sanding or using alcohol to take it off, and we'll do another video on how to remove the burn marks if you don't have air assist. So like and subscribe so you'll know what's going on when that comes up. We're going to do a lot of testing with the xTool M1. But air assist, yeah, if you want nice clean wood cuts, definitely worth the investment.